All right, this is just a review for Chapter 7. I'll go ahead and post this online and hopefully to YouTube. So I just wanted to go back and review some of the things that we learned in Chapter 7. And if we go back to Chapter 7, you'll kind of remember with interest rate parity, triangular arbitrage, and locational arbitrage. Basically, what it was showing was that spot rates will be in equilibrium. That's locational arbitrage. With triangular arbitrage, we'll see that cross rates will be in equilibrium. And then finally, we were looking at covered interest arbitrage. That's where we ended the last time. And basically with covered interest arbitrage, and we'll go over that later today in class, with covered interest arbitrage, it basically says forward rates will be in equilibrium. So if we go back to locational arbitrage, and you kind of look at this example problem, assume the bid rate of the New Zealand dollar is 0.646, while the ask rate is 0.648 at one bank, and the bid rate is 0.642 and the ask rate's 0.644 at a different bank. What would be your gain if you use $100,000 and execute locational arbitrage? And then what's the corresponding reaction to that will put it back into equilibrium? So if we start out, what we want to do is buy as many New Zealand dollars at Bank Y as we can. So if we have $100,000, the question then becomes, how many New Zealand dollars can we buy if the exchange rate is 0.644 US dollars for one New Zealand dollars? That will give us $100,000. Okay. So if you take $100,000 and divide it by 0.644, we're going to end up with 155,279.5 New Zealand dollars. Okay. So now we're going to take those New Zealand dollars and we're going to sell these New Zealand dollars to Bank X. And Bank X, remember, is willing to give us .646 US dollars for every New Zealand dollar. And we will end up with, so by buying New Zealand dollars at Bank Y and selling those New Zealand dollars back to Bank X, we're going to end up with 100,310.56 US dollars. Or what we can see is an instantaneous arbitrage profit of $310.56. Okay. So remember, what's now going to happen is the more you begin to buy at Bank Y, then the ask rate is going to tick up. And when you sell them back to Bank X, the bid rate is going to fall. And we will hit general equilibrium. All right, let's go ahead and look then at this second question. Now, if you remember this second question, this was the idea of triangular arbitrage. And in triangular arbitrage, it didn't really matter whether this is one bank or three banks or six banks, but I'm going to call this Bank A, Bank B, and Bank C, just for reference. And what we've got to figure out is what should the cross rate be? This is the quoted rate at Bank C, but we need to figure out what the cross rate should be. So in order to get the ask rate, okay, remember what we're looking for is the largest C. And since we have to take A divided by B to get C, in terms of solving for the cross rates, then what we need to do is figure out how are we going to get the largest A, so, or excuse me, the largest C. So if I look at trying to get the largest C possible, I'm going to need to take A plus divided by B minus. So if we look at this, the A plus is going to be taking the ask price from Bank A divided by the bid price at Bank B. If we look at 1.259 divided by 0.752, we're going to end up with the number of New Zealand dollars per pound. In other words, the cross rate should be 1.674 New Zealand dollars per pound on the ask, and on the bid, if we're looking for the smallest bid price, then we're looking at taking the smallest A divided by the largest B, which is 1.255 divided by 0.757, and 1.255 divided by 0.757 will give us 1.658 roughly New Zealand dollars per pound. Yeah. Now, looking at what the bid and ask should be, what we'll notice is both of these numbers are below what Bank C's quote is. Because both of these numbers are below Bank C's quotes, we know that Bank C is not in equilibrium. Now the question is, where does the advantage lie? Well, if we go back and kind of remember, we can buy pounds for with New Zealand dollars. We can buy pounds from Bank C, but we should be paying 1.674 New Zealand dollars. Instead, Bank C is charging 1.695, which again means it's not really a good deal. But if you look at the bid price, which is also below Bank C's bid price, now we can see where the inefficiencies lie. And where the inefficiency lies is the fact that Bank C is willing to give more New Zealand dollars per pound sold back to them than what they should be giving. And the arbitrage allows you to make a riskless profit, and doing so will put it back into equilibrium. So let's start with our triangular arbitrage. And you see, you will remember why it's called triangular arbitrage, because first step is we know we want to do something. We've identified the inefficiency from above, and the inefficiency is to sell pounds for New Zealand dollars. Well, we can't sell pounds for New Zealand dollars until we first do what? Obtain pounds with the 100,000 that we have. And so what we're going to have to do is buy pounds from Bank A, excuse me. Buy pounds from Bank A. And if we look, we can see we can buy pounds from Bank A at $1.259 per pound. So now all we do is have to figure out how many pounds can we buy if each one costs us $1.259. Therefore, we're going to have to take $100,000 and divide it by 1.259. And that's going to give us 79,428.11 pounds. Now you may, why did we have to use the ask price above? We had to use the ask price because we needed to buy pounds with the dollars that we have. Okay. Now what we're going to do is go to Bank C. And now that we have 79,428.11 pounds, we can go ahead and sell them to Bank C. And Bank C, remember, is going to give us New Zealand dollar 1.681 New Zealand dollars for every pound. So if we take those pounds, multiply it by 1.681 New Zealand dollars, we'll end up with 133,519 New Zealand dollars. Now to complete the triangle, we'll go to Bank B and sell Bank B New Zealand dollars for US dollars. So when we sell our New Zealand dollars, we're going to see how many US dollars will Bank B give us. Bank B will give us 0.752 US dollars. And we're going to end up with 100,406 US dollars. So therefore, we've just made a riskless profit of about $406. Now, what's going to happen within this triangular arbitrage is that as we buy pounds from Bank A, the ask price is going to go up, and the bid price that we receive in terms of New Zealand dollars for those pounds will go down, and the bid price in terms of the number of US dollars we receive for every New Zealand dollar we sell back to Bank B will also go down, and will put us back into equilibrium. Now, just as a review, we can go back and look now at this last problem. Let me get a little more room. And you'll see as we go on, hopefully I'll get a little more astute at sharing the screen. But let's go ahead and look at number 5 then. And here's what we have. We have euros and pesos. Oops, it should have been pesos. Euros and pesos relative to US dollars. And we also have a cross rate in terms of the number of pesos per euro. Now, in order to figure out what the cross rate should be, we need to figure out, again, if this is A, B, and C, how do we get a cross rate in terms of the number of pesos per euro? In order to get a number of pesos per euro, we can't multiply A times B to get C, because that would give us dollars squared per euro peso, which doesn't make any sense. But if we want to find the number of pesos per euro, we're going to have to take A divided by B to get C. Now, if we consider this C plus and this C minus, in order to get C plus, or the largest C, it's again A plus divided by B minus. So we would take 1.127 divided by 0.055, and that would give us dollars per euro, divided by the number of dollars per peso, which we can see will then bring the euro down and flip the peso up. And the cross rate should be, in terms of the ask rate, the ask rate should be 20.49 pesos per euro. And if we wanted to find the bid rate, we're going to find the smallest C. The smallest C, if you're using A divided by B in order to find C, the smallest C is found by taking the smallest A divided by the largest B will give you the smallest C. And so if we take 1.125 divided by 21, excuse me, if we take 1.125 divided by 0.058, we will get 19.4 pesos per euro. Okay. So now we found what the bid and ask rate should be. Both of these are below what Bank C is offering. So again, what that means is we don't want to buy euros with pesos we have because it's too expensive at Bank C. But we want to do what? Sell euros for pesos at Bank C because Bank C is giving us 21 pesos when they should be giving us 19.4. So now we're going to have to go back through our triangular arbitrage. Means we already know the end result. We want to obtain euros and sell euros for pesos to Bank C at their generous rate of 21. At their generous offer of 21 pesos per euro. Okay, so I put a box around the rate that they're actually willing to buy euros from us with pesos. So the first thing we need to do before we can sell them euros for pesos, the first thing we're going to need to do is obtain the euros. So we go back up here and we say, hey, I want to buy euros from Bank A. If I want to buy euros from Bank A, they're going to cost $1.127 per euro. So with $100,000 and each one costing more than $1, I can obtain 88,731 euros. And that starts us on our triangle. And that's leg one. Leg two now is to sell those euros for pesos. And if we look at Bank C, we can see that they're willing to sell them for 21 pesos, or willing to buy the euros from us for 21 pesos. So if I sell them euros, and each euro is worth 21 pesos, I multiply the 88,731 by 21, and I end up with 1,863,354. 1,863,354. And pesos. Now I close out my triangle. And if I have all these pesos, which is more than I should have, okay, now I will sell these pesos, sell the pesos to Bank B. Oops. Sell the pesos to Bank B. And Bank B, remember, is willing to give me $0.055 for each peso. So if I get about 5.5 cents, I end up with $102,484, thereby making a profit of about $2,484. Okay, so that's just a quick review of locational arbitrage and triangular arbitrage. And when we start class today, I'll go back over something like this very quickly. But we'll pretty much start into the covered interest arbitrage. So right now I'm just going to put this up to see if in fact it works as far as recording, and also the fact that I'll be able to post it on YouTube. So I'll stop sharing and you should see me again. And now we'll be able to see if we can, in fact, stop this video. Then I will be able to post it in the OneDrive and also post it onto YouTube. So I'll see you all later today at 4.